Are Here we are. We're with Molly again, and this time I did not even make notes because I don't really ever follow the notes, so there really wasn't any point. So I thought today we would talk about the inspection process. You know, did you guys hire a home inspector, and what other inspections did you have?
Sure. I guess backing it up a little bit, we didn't know anything about buying a home and what it entailed. So with the inspector, I believe that the inspector was recommended to us by our realtor. We didn't search around. She said, "This is your guy. Are you good with this price?" She made sure that we were comfortable with the price. And then we did the inspection. For full disclosure, our home is was built in 2000, so it's 24 years old. The only thing that the inspector found that was concerning was the width of space between our microwave and our stove range. He said that typically in New Jersey, it should be 18 inches from the burner to the microwave, but I think ours was lower than that. So it wasn't to code, but it's not really an issue. It wasn't like we didn't pass the inspection because of this. He just said it's not really up to fire code.
Well,
So it was very straightforward, I thought.
did you guys attend, or did you just did you attend the inspection?
We did. And before the inspection, I actually called you and I asked you for questions that I should be asking. And I was Googling, what should I ask at an inspection? Because I had no clue what to ask. So what are some things that you tell your buyers, turning the tables on you? What are some things that you would say buyers should ask at an inspection? Just basic things.
Well, I guess the most, if I'm going to put myself in, I'm buying a home. I'm the one buying a home. The the number one thing, you either go from the foundation to the roof or from the roof to the foundation. It typically starts with the foundation. I would say if there's a foundation, depending on whether there's a basement, no basement, any of those type of things, you know, that's where it all starts. That's where the home starts, is the footers, the foundation, the basement, is there water intrusion, any of those type of things. So once you get to that, then it's the walls, windows, and roof. I I think of it as a house is a box, and you got to make sure that the box is sound. And if the box is a good box, those are the major issues. And then I would go from the box to the mechanicals, which would be the inner workings of the house. So if your roof, your windows, your walls, your foundation, your those types of things are sound, I would be the electrical, the HVAC, with the plumbing, and you know those types of things, any mechanical things, and the appliances. The appliances aren't going to be as important as, say, the mechanicals, because a refrigerator is going to last anywhere from 10 to 15 years. And it just depending on whether you get a, super deluxe one that has a TV in it and has a camera in there and tells you what to order your food, or like your aunt and I have, is a basic refrigerator, keeps the milk cold. My philosophy on the refrigerator is the milk doesn't care what kind of refrigerator you have. It's going to either hold the temperature or isn't going to hold the temperature. But that's me. Most people don't want to live like I do or be me. So that's just the way it is. So, but back to you, those are the issues that I think are important. You know, you didn't have any idea, but now you have perspective looking back. What would you do differently during a home inspection?
So now we I don't think there's anything I would do differently in the home inspection, because if we think about the goal of the inspection, it was really just to eliminate any major issues, because we kind of knew this house before we bought it. We knew the neighborhood. We knew that it was only 24 years old. We knew that the HOA is in charge of the outside and the structure of the home. We knew so much about it. And I think what you and I had talked about kind of starting with today, this ties it back to that, which is writing the offer. Now, when we wrote the offer and prepared the offer for our home, there were 14 other people who offered over ask on this home. We offered 50,000 over ask, and the next lowest offer was within $5,000 of our offer. So
Yeah.
most of the people offered over ask for this home. And one of the things that they came back to us, the agent, the buyer seller's agent came back to us and said, "Why are you not waiving the inspection and the appraisal?" They said, "You're the only people of the 14 offers who didn't waive the inspection and the appraisal." And we said, "Well, you have to understand, we're first-time home buyers. We have a right to a home inspection and an appraisal." But that's what we're working with here in this market in New Jersey. I don't know if you're seeing that in Florida, but you have to make yourself extremely competitive to even be in the running. We're offering 50,000 over ask, and they have the audacity to come back to us and ask us why we want an inspection. So
Well, we went through that during the pandemic. It's not audacity. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Right now, inspections are king, and whatever little thing that the buyer wants, you're probably going to fix if you want to sell the home. You know what I mean?
right.
It changes. The market demands what the market demands. I mean, whomever's got the upper hand will make the rules. You know what I mean? And right now, this in Nutley, New Jersey, the sellers have the upper hand. In Florida, where we are in Northwest Florida, the buyers have the upper hand. It's
Wow.
whomever is driving the bus gets to decide where you go. So,
Yeah.
but I would never feel very comfortable writing an offer without that contingency in there, because you don't know what you don't know. It's when you go in there and the thing could have been eaten up with termites, it could have had
Yeah.
structural issues, and then you're stuck.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the best thing you guys did was not give in on that. You paid a premium, so they went with you for $5,000. They decided, well, we'll go through the inspection process. Well, and everybody says, does a house pass or fail an inspection? And I would say there's no pass or fail. An inspection is a picture of that home's condition at the time that the inspector is there. The
Yeah.
next day, the HVAC could break down, because there's a day in the life of every air conditioning or heating unit. There's a day that it works, and then there's a day that it doesn't work. But usually, it's typically in the age of it. If it's a newer system, it's less likely to be tomorrow. But if it's an
Right.
older system, it's going to be one of the tomorrows that's coming up. So it the best thing you can do, I think, as a buyer is get as much knowledge as you can in a short period of time about that home that you're buying. You know what I mean? Because sooner or later, you're in an HOA and you said that they cover the roof, but if they don't cover the roof, you're buying a new roof. If it's an older roof and you buy a home and the roof is of certain age, sooner or later you're buying a roof.
Yeah.
So, but you're prepaying a roof through the HOA.
Exactly. Yes, we're paying for it monthly
Yeah.
until we need a roof. So that was so when we did the inspection, it was really what you're saying. It was really education for us, because we knew that we weren't allowed to ask the seller to fix anything. unless it was structural. That was a part of the stipulation of the inspection.
Huh.
So we weren't allowed to ask them to replace the windows that are fogging, when it rains or when it's dewy outside. We weren't allowed to ask for any repairs or replacements of anything. So it was kind of an as is purchase, to be honest with you. And we knew that going in, but we said we still want the inspection because we want to learn about the home, so that's how we approached it.
That's good. So what would you do differently the next time you're going to purchase a home? Or what are you going to do differently when you sell this home? When you have an inspection, would you do anything different now that you have a little bit more information?
I think that what I would do is the process became very clunky because they didn't have the CO. They didn't get the CO before we had the inspection, and it really prolonged our process. I feel like the CO is something they could have gotten ahead of time. That wasn't something they needed to wait for the inspection to get. And that really slowed things down for us. So I think that when I go to sell this house, I'm going to do everything I can up front. I'm even going to get an inspection myself, before the buyer has an inspection, because I want to eliminate any issues. I want to have another educational lesson, about my home after 20 years of living here, or, whatever it is. I want to learn more about it then. What do we not know? We don't know what we don't know. And I feel like I'm living in it. I'm sitting here, I'm breathing, living in it, but I don't really know what's going on beyond the walls and in the attic. I don't know what's going on. As long as everything's working, I'm not concerned with the house, as long as my life goes unchanged. So
until the house starts screaming at you or has brakes and it's not working, then it's an emergency. Is
right.
Nobody thinks about the refrigerator. Nobody thanks the refrigerator for keeping the milk cold or anything like that, but they sure do swear at it when it dies and they have to get a new one.
So we've lived in the house for 30 days and we've already had to replace the microwave. It's 13 years old. It lasted a month after we closed on the house. So just things like that, the original appliances from when she purchased the house, some of the original appliances are still here and it's still keeping the milk cold. And we said, you know what, let's just keep the original appliances for as long as we can, and then we'll replace them when they croak, instead of, they're the color of bisque. Do we really like that? No, but it's working. Why go and spend another $2,000 on a refrigerator when it's going to do the exact same thing as the bisque refrigerator that we already have?
Well, that's the first, the house that Donna and I bought in Vienna. It was way before I became a realtor and had a home inspection. The first time I'd ever had a home inspection. And I followed the home inspector around like a puppy and asking questions and doing everything like that, and started asking about replacing the HVAC. He said, look, it's working and it's working well. You're going to replace it. He said, but get as much use out of it as you can. The same with the refrigerator. Get as much use out of it as you can. You've already made this huge purchase. And the farther out you can push the new appliance package, and if you can time it, usually around Black Friday after Thanksgiving,
yeah.
If it's coming to the time that they're old enough that you're going to switch them out, you might want to switch them before they die, and then you can get a complete package at a package deal and put them in. But
exactly,
you're not buying out of a necessity. You're buying a planned move on from the older one, because usually when a house is about 10 years old, that's when the appliances start failing, because the builders don't put in the best appliances. They put in, the Frigidaire or whatever. And some of these things will last 10 to 15 years. And it is what it is, you might upgrade to a Bosch dishwasher or something like that if that's important to you, and whatever your lifestyle is, you might want let's just say you end up having children and you got bottles or something that you're going to use. You want a dishwasher where it's
Mhm.
sanitizing the bottles. But if you don't, it's not as important. It all just depends on your lifestyle. The best thing to do is see how you live in a house, and then you make decisions based on how you live in the house.
Yeah, exactly. We had to have kind of a come to Jesus meeting, my husband and I, when we were buying this house, because obviously we wanted everything to be perfect, exactly the way we wanted it. You know, my kitchen is from 2000. It's outdated. It has old countertops. It's not beautiful, but it works. And it's good enough right now. And we said, you know what? If we want to live here, we want this house, that's going to be our priority. Paying down the principal of this mortgage is going to be where our money is going right now. Because if we had bought this house a few years ago during the pandemic, it would have been a whole different conversation. We would have been offering 300 to $400,000 less than we had to buy this house for. So we would have had a much bigger amount of cash to put into the house to renovate it. But because we bought when we did and we saved up for the down payment, and that took us a while, we said, you know what, this is our max budget, and this is as much money as we're willing to put in right away on day one, and everything else we have to save up for. So if we want to do a kitchen renovation, we have to save up that money on top of the money that we're paying into the mortgage and the HOA and the extra principal money we're putting every month to pay that down.
Well,
So
well, just one point is the food tastes the same whether the kitchen's renovated
true.
or not. You know what I mean? You can either cook or you can't. You know, you can either bake or you can't. The cookies are not affected. The cookies don't care about the countertop that they're on or what cookie sheet they're on. The oven, if the oven holds a good temperature, it holds a good temperature. You know what I mean? So, you know,
But
it, but I,
a lot of people feel the way I feel, millennials. They want an Instagrammable home. Social media has turned home buying and home owning into like a show. It is a show on HGTV, it's all about how people perceive you in your home on social media and television. So, the pressure is high.
and or when they come over to your house.
Exactly.
So I guess what we ought to do is make an app that can transform your kitchen in the pictures that you are without changing it. Do the AI app of here's the kitchen that I imagine I'm in, and as opposed to the kitchen I'm in.
Yeah.
But I suspect at some point in the future it will become a status symbol to be in a unrenovated kitchen because you look more like you're frugal. You know what I mean? Because look, who knows?
Or the original
Yeah.
vintage. Yeah, it could have an appeal. I see that. Yeah.
I mean, you could be the frugal family from Nutley, as opposed to the Abundanza family from Montclair or something like that,
Yeah.
because kitchens aren't cheap. You're looking anywhere from 50 to over $100,000, depending on the cabinets that you choose, the appliance package you choose, the renovation person you use. I mean, I don't know. Don't know.
At least. Yeah, you're talking 50,000 minimum to just make it probably basic. We're not talking Miele appliances or Bosch or Sub-Zero. We're talking like Home Depot appliances and
But
maybe marble countertops or something.
but you did do some stuff before you moved in.
We did. Yes.
So why don't you tell about what you did do that you felt was important before you moved in?
So when we toured the home, one of the major things that I noticed right away was the floors. Now, my husband is sensitive to carpet. And I say sensitive to carpet, excuse me, he doesn't like the idea of carpet. He's like a lot of people who either love or hate carpet. He hates it. He just doesn't have good feelings about carpet for some reason. So maybe it's his allergies. I don't know. He just mentally could not wrap his head around owning a home with carpet. So, and I know I'm not the only person out there who's saying this, it does occur. People love the look of wood floors. So downstairs on the first floor, our house had um, laminate, but the planking was very awkward. It was almost like they did it quickly, and it was one plank, like an 8-inch plank, separated into 4-inch planks, but it was a picture of the planks. So it was an image on the 8-inch plank. And they had it going in opposite directions in different rooms. It didn't look good to me. And we thought, okay, upstairs was carpet. So we said, let's try to put the laminate upstairs that matches downstairs. But then it just got, how it is. It's like you can't find something that matches, and you want to get the value out of what you just bought, but you also want everything to be aesthetic. So we had to make this kind of executive decision to replace everything and to make it all match. So we decided to get a Pergo laminate plank, and it's warranted. It had the pad already attached, so it's softer on your feet, and we didn't have to buy the pad. And we used a local company, so we actually got to go and stand on it and look at it in the sunlight and look at it in our house, and we were able to really get comfortable with what it was going to look like. And so we did that immediately. The other thing we did was replace some of the blinds. So the blinds in this house, we have great natural light, as you can see, but the blinds were really old, and we could tell that they just weren't really working anymore. They were bottom down, top up blinds, and the bottom down feature in the state of New Jersey, they don't sell the kind that you manual with a string. They're like push up and down. So these were still string. So we decided to just replace a few of the bedrooms. We didn't replace all of the blinds. I said, I think we need to hone the budget here and say what's working, what's not, and let's only replace what's not. And then down the road, let's replace what is working if we decide we want something different down the road. And I'm really glad we did that, because they're working, like we've been talking about, like why replace something that isn't working? For us, we didn't have the money to do that. I know a lot of people, I have, friends and family who replace things in homes when they buy them because they just don't like it, because they have the cash.
Yeah.
So we had to really weigh that for ourselves.
So who was the main driver on the changing and not changing? You or Guy?
I think we were in agreement on everything. He definitely was the driver of the blinds. He hated the strings. He would get very frustrated because they would kind of go like this, like they broke, they were breaking when we were using them, basically. So he said, this is just not working. And he really drove that. And then I was the one who really encouraged him to consider the floors, because I think if he could have, he would have tried to make it work with matching upstairs to the existing downstairs, maybe getting it kind of close in order to save the money. I think it was a lot of money, and I really had to convince him, but I knew that once it was done, he would be happy with it. It was one of those things where I kind of could see the future. And I said, I think this is a really good idea to do before we move any furniture in here, is get the floors down.
I would agree with you on that, because I've been in homes that have had anywhere from 5 to 7 different types of flooring. And I've stood in a home one time and I could see 4 different types of flooring from one spot that I was looking at. It doesn't look good. It looks like a yard sale of flooring. And sometimes they're just buying remnants or whatever. There's got to be some continuity on the walls, the floors, everything. And if you do sell a home with that's unfurnished, say it's a vacant home, flooring is even a bigger deal because when you're selling a home that is furnished, you're probably only seeing about a third to 40% of the flooring because of the furniture, the area rugs, and all of those things. But if you sell a vacant home, you see 100% of the floor, and that's all you can look at. You know what I mean? There's no furniture to catch your eye. There's no pictures. There's nothing. There's floor, wall, ceiling. That's it. So flooring is important, just as it's probably more important than the wall color because flooring is harder to change, more expensive to change, and you walk on it. And
Yeah.
so
I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad we went with a local business. We went with a business, I'll give them a shout out, The Longest Yard in Nutley. What I like about them is that yesterday I actually noticed some separating in the planking, almost like it was expanding and contracting, like gaps. And I called them, and he came over today, and he was just here before you and I got on, and he fixed everything. So, it's that personal touch, that sometimes it pays to have a local family owned business because you can get that customer level of customer service and get it quickly.
well, you are right. Everything expands and contracts because of the humidity level in your home. You know what I mean? So that's pretty perceptive. You're becoming a seasoned homeowner already.
Well, when you spend such a large amount of money on something, you really tend to watch it. I'm like looking at the planks.
Well, at some point you'll just walk on them. But
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
all right, well, I think we beat this horse to death. It was good to talk to you again, and I will send you all the links and stuff like that, and you can choose what you want as we do the normal thing.
Okay. Great talking to you.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.